This holiday, would you rather buy this TV or get one for free? For a limited time only, bring home a free 43-inch Samsung Smart TV when you sign up on Link with DTV Plus today. Just imagine your favorite movies, shows, and more, all in stunning quality on your brand new screen. Visit DocomoPacific.com or see us in store to learn more. Docomo Pacific, better together.
Kandit News is brought to you by 76 Circle K Guam.
Biba Año Nuevo and Biba Santa Maria. It is January 1, 2025. It's 7:16 p.m. I'm Troy Torres. Thank you so much for joining. I really hope that you had a blessed new year, a blessed solemnity of Mary as the Mother of God. I hope you went to church today. It was a holy day of obligation if you're a Catholic. I know my hair is a mess. I need a haircut. It's a thing. Don't worry. I'll get it done at some point. If you are out of cash because of the holidays and you are on the road and it's hot in Guam during the daytime and you're just like, I need a drink. You know, you stop by the store and it's like $1.65 for a bottle of water, or sometimes $1.95. You know, a can of soda, which is just 16 or 12 ounces, isn't going to get you very far. And it's already expensive. At Wendy's, any size soft drink is $1 available all day long. Just in case you were wondering, if you were out strolling and you're in Barragata in Manila or, you know, somewhere up north or in the central area, and you're thirsty, just stop by Wendy's. And yes, they're absolutely our advertiser, and we thank all of our advertisers for supporting the First Amendment. And just so you know, they don't necessarily agree or disagree with the things that I talk about. And I know a lot of the things that I talk about and a lot of the opinions that are expressed by many of our writers. And we're so thankful for our columnists and our contributing writers who make Kandit this now cornucopia of not just information, but opinion. And it's not just our contributing writers, but it's also you in the comments section when you have, and I really value the diversity of comments and opinions that come across in the comments section. I don't really like it when people fight, but you know, that's part of the discourse, right? I will absolutely take away racist, sexist comments that incite violence. That there's no place for that in civilized society. Anyway, a couple of days ago, Charlie Hermosa, he is the president of Bella Wings Aviation. Bella Wings Aviation, they do a whole bunch of stuff, but what you might recognize them for is the annual drone fireworks show that we've had since, I think, 2019. And they're beautiful. And, you know, I remember the first year when people, and I remember being in Tuman and just hearing not just the kids, but the adults. You know, they were just in awe about this fireworks show, which was done by drones. It was a fireworks simulation by drones. And so Charlie Hermosa, Bella Wings Aviation, they had this contract with GVB during the years that Carl Gutierrez was the president and CEO of GVB. A couple of days, and by the way, Charlie Hermosa is the only publicly announced opponent to Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio for the governor's race in 2026. 2 days ago, Charlie Hermosa messages me and he says, "Hey brother, can you put out on Kandit that Bella Wings isn't doing the drone show this year?" And I said, "Why? What happened?" He said, "Well, they told me that that they weren't going to renew our contract. I guess they had one of those in government contract clauses, you can have these options to renew." I'm assuming that that's what he meant. He said they didn't renew the contract. And then literally an hour later, I hear it on the Patio Royal show that another vendor, the vendor who previously did the fireworks, was selected by GVB to do the fireworks. Now, I don't know if this vendor is, you know, in any way politically connected to the administration. But what I do know is that Charlie Hermosa is a declared candidate for governor against the administration's current lieutenant governor, Josh Tenorio. And I was like, do these people have any decency whatsoever? Because how obvious are you going to make it? How just in your face to us, the people? Never mind, I don't care about Charlie Hermosa and his bid for governor. But what you're telling us, the people, when you do something so blatantly corrupt, vestiges of cronyism, and cronyism that is used to lightly veil political retribution, which is even worse than cronyism. You're just going to throw it in our face, because I'm not a freaking idiot, and neither are any of you. You're not idiots. We don't have proof that Josh Tenorio called up whoever at GVB and said, hey, now that Carl Gutierrez is not there, and now that Charlie Hermosa is no longer, or is running against me for governor of Guam in 2026, I want you to get rid of that contract. We'll probably never have proof that that conversation ever happened. But also, we're not stupid. And then it harkens back to just everything about this administration. And if we're being honest here, it isn't just this administration. From the inception of self-government in this island, cronyism has been a thing. And I'll explain that in just a second. But just think about everything, just hundreds of the billions of dollars spent over the past 6 years by this administration. And how much of that money, how much of resources, how many jobs just were the spoils that went to the victors. From, just when you look at it, right? The banking institution that the government of Guam uses, the hundreds of millions of dollars in pandemic era funds. The media hasn't done a good job over the past 6 years of measuring this, but I think it's high time that the media gets a hold of the staffing patterns and does a comparison between the day Lou Leon-Guerrero and Josh Tenorio took office to today to find out how many more people were hired. And don't tell me that the majority of those people were hired because of their excellent qualifications. Or don't tell me that the majority of those people who were hired coincidentally were at your pocket meeting and our pictures all over the place at your campaign fundraisers. Cronyism through and through, on high alert in this administration, to the grass cutting. Can you imagine that? Even to the grass cutting contracts. And here we are waiting for the FBI and the U.S. attorney to do something about corruption. But my friends, we have an opportunity to do something about where corruption starts. It's our attitude about cronyism. And I understand that so many of us feel the same way as a friend who over lunch a couple of days ago told me, cronyism will never go away in the Marianas. He said it just like matter of factly, but also with lamentation. And I can't accept that. I don't accept that we should just roll over and accept that cronyism will always be here. The only reason cronyism remains is because of this. Imagine that society is a pie, round, You've taken geometry, right? Round. And one slice of that pie are the people in power, in government positions. They are the ones who control the government. They're number one on that ranking system. Right next to them, right after them is their family. Right after them is their friends. And right after them is their supporters. They comprise the first piece of the pie. And no need to explain how cronyism works there, right? The second piece of the pie is equal in size to the first piece of the pie. These are the people with their families, friends, and supporters who lament all the time about all the misdeeds and the misgivings of the people in the first piece of the pie. They'll talk about corruption. Their rhetoric is the same as everybody else who hates corruption and cronyism. The only difference is they have an ulterior motive. Their entire attitude isn't that cronyism and corruption are bad. Their entire attitude is their cronyism and their corruption is bad. And I hate them because it's their turn and it isn't my turn. There is a significant number of people in our island who will tell you that they don't like corruption and they don't like cronyism and they don't like this administration. But what they really don't like is that they're not the ones in power. So you have two slices of this pie making up a significant portion of the population who have no problem whatsoever with cronyism and, to a degree, corruption. Then you have a very small slice of pie. These are the people who are non-transactional in nature. They do not count the favors that they do for you. They do not like to ask for favors for fear that the other person, the benefactor, might try to get them to do something that is unethical or immoral in the future. These non-transactional people truly hate corruption and cronyism, and they are so idealistic that they stay in the game. They continue to vote. They continue to make noise. All three of these slices of pie together make a very slight majority. Very slight. Sometimes not even a majority. The most powerful slice of the pie is the largest slice of the pie. It is the plurality. And it's the part of the pie, it's the part of society that is fed up with the two first slices of pie. They are so fed up that they've given up on any chance of change. They just stopped voting. They stopped caring. They remain silent. They say things like, cronyism will always be here. They've just accepted defeat. If that slice of the pie woke up tomorrow, on January 2nd, and resolved just as I resolved today, on January 1st, to continue to work to convince people to change our attitude about cronyism, we can actually defeat corruption. We can actually do something about the people in those two slices of pie and tell them to get out of our system. To stop electing either one or the other, so that all it is two corrupt people, two corrupt portions of society taking turns in their corruption and their cronyism. If that sliver, that smallest piece of the pie, could just convince the largest piece of the pie, the plurality, that change can and will happen if they get involved, we can actually end the root of corruption, which is cronyism. And make no mistake, anything, any action that yanks public resources away from the proper use of those resources, from the adjudicated, process-driven, rightful use of public resources, so that one person who has that power to conduct that transaction does it for another person in return for gratitude, money, influence, whatever the case may be. While it might not necessarily be illegal, it is absolutely corrupt. It is cronyism. Using the public trough to transact between two parties who are not facilitated by a process-driven venue assigned to the public, by the government, is cronyism. And many of us are guilty of it at some point in our lives. You know, I'm sorry to brag, but you know, when I was in the Calvo administration, I had two high-level positions there. And I remember I got pulled over for speeding. Like I was a speed racer with my red Jeep at the time. And I actually had left a meeting it was with the police I can't remember, it was somewhere up north. And I was rushing back to Adelup because I was late for a meeting with the governor. And I was rushing and I got pulled over in a speed trap. And I was embarrassed because one of the questions that they ask you is where are you going and where do you work? And I was embarrassed when they asked me, where do I work? Because where I worked was the governor's office. And I said, oh, I work for the government. I didn't want that cop to think that I was flaunting my position so that I could get out of a ticket. I got that ticket. Rightfully so, I was speeding. But I know coworkers who would use their badges, because we had governor's office badges and we had Homeland Security badges. Some of us did. Who would display those badges so that if they ever got in trouble, they'd be able to get out of it. They'd be able to use their power and their influence over the police. It's wrong. I'm happy that I got that ticket. Not because I'm happy that I was speeding, but because at least I can tell this story and feel good about it. At least that police officer who ticketed me didn't feel in any way intimidated because I was a high-level official in the government at the time. And then he would be questioning his conscience and his morals and his ethics. We all have to do our part as citizens to make this place a better island, to make the CNMI a better commonwealth. End cronyism. Those of you who are silent because you've given up, don't give up. Don't give up on us. Don't give up on our islands. Continue being good as you are good in your lives and apply that to our collective conscience and our collective consciousness. Be alive again in our society. Be vocal and say something because you know it's wrong. It isn't too late. Because I'm tired of seeing people taking advantage of the public trough. People taking advantage of the taxpayers so that they can be able to brag about how they did favors for so and so and so and so and how powerful they are and how much influence they have. That they could do all these things and give people jobs and give people contracts. Because they're the man. They're the woman. It's disgusting. I hope they all go to jail. Really. You know those people, our brothers and sisters who are in prison for these blue-collar crimes? I feel so bad for them, especially during the holidays. And I know some of you will say, you know, they committed crimes, they should do the time. Whatever. They are not being treated with dignity. They're not being treated like human beings. I wish we could swap them out for the corrupt and the cronies. I wish the corrupt were in those prisons instead of our blue-collar brothers and sisters. Most of whom just need mental health assistance. But you have these people in the government and these people waiting to be in power in the government who steal way more from us than the thieves at DOC. They hurt people far more than the violent criminals at DOC. And they get away with it. And they have no excuse because these people who are stealing through the government, they're not on drugs. They're not out of their minds. Their transactional nature coupled with their lack of morals and ethics is what makes them corrupt and has them do these things against our people, against all of us. And so logically, my dear friends, those of you who are in that plurality piece of the pie, if you know that this is wrong, if you know that this is debilitating, devastating to the future of this island, if you know that this is what causes our taxes to be so high, government to be so bloated and inefficient, to be purposeless, to have no Simon Sanchez high school solution up to this day, to be continuing to delay Guam Memorial Hospital development, to not have the medical care that we need, to not even be anywhere near a discussion, a public discussion about the arts and the humanities, anywhere near a public discussion about public education and learning outcomes because we're so busy trying to get schools up to sanitation standards. If you're wondering why we don't have enough ambulances and medics, just the fundamental stuff, potholes can't be repaired, roads can't be paved. So many of our people, so poor, children who go hungry. It's because of cronyism and corruption and everyone who's just waiting for their time to get in on it. Say something. Be part of the change that we can have this year. God bless you all. I love you. Happy New Year. Biba Año Nuevo. And Biba Santa Maria.